Ready? You ready?
What do I say? What do I say?
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Yeah, that's pretty good actually. It is time for another episode of Caffeinated Convos. I am your host, Holly Hickman, and today I am joined with my wonderful, loving boyfriend, Brenden. Brenden, come on out.
Hey guys!
So I did an Instagram poll and I asked you guys if you'd rather see something about struggling with body image or struggling with anxiety in your relationship, or like dealing with anxiety and the fact that you're in a relationship, not anxiety because of your relationship. Two totally different things. So Brenden and I sat down together and, so it was like neck and neck, this poll, right? So this one barely won. So next week, since it was so neck and neck, I'm going to do the body image one. But since this one won by literally 2%, I figured I'd go ahead and knock this one out first, since this is what you guys wanted to see most. And the body image will come up next week. So definitely make sure you hit the subscribe button down below to see that. Anyways, before we opened up for filming and everything, we sat down together and wrote down kind of like 5 key points that we wanted to talk about during this video, and how we both deal with our own anxieties together now that we're in a relationship, and how we just like give each other the tools that we need to just have a healthy, thriving relationship, right? Anything you want to add?
You're getting the spot on, baby.
So the first one on our list was, sorry if we're looking down, we have our list right here to make sure that we don't miss anything for y'all. But the first one that we had was listening to understand, not to respond, and then calming down before you talk about a situation. So my friend Olivia actually posted on Snapchat the other day, and it kind of reminded me, actually I think that was earlier today, and it kind of reminded me about listening to understand versus listening to respond. I feel like a lot of times when you're talking about your struggles or talking about your anxieties, you know, the person you're talking to or the person who is talking to you wants to relate it back to you. So if I'm like talking to you about like, you know, I have something that I struggled with, like an anxiety that I struggled with, you naturally as a person want to fire back with your struggles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily always helpful. Sometimes you just need to be heard. So I think one of the things is like, just making sure that you're listening to hear this person and understand what they're going through and how they're feeling, instead of listening to just respond to them or, you know, talk about yourself is important. And just like making sure that you're both setting aside enough time to give each other the time they need to like listen and understand, you know?
Yeah. Do you want to give an example of like us?
Yeah, you can talk about last night.
Like last night?
Yeah.
Okay. So like another you know thing we could talk about there is if it's like a who's your fault, his fault, her fault, whatever situation, just make sure that you don't always, like, the first thing you do normally would be to fire back and be like, no, that was your fault, or no, blah blah blah, you did this. Just listen, because it'll make everything easier. Don't try to fire back and just it's gonna get more heated, but just listen. Because a perfect example last night,
Brenden just said something that kind of just like, he did not mean it offensively, but I had just been like kind of struggling with it, and it was kind of like one of those things where it was like a long day of thinking about something.
she was grumpy.
I was grumpy. Well, I was tired too. And then he said something that kind of just like really upset me, just because I had been focused on this one bad thing all day. And you didn't at all mean to insult me or make me feel bad. It was just like timing and everything that really made me upset. And so we both, it's like, so whenever like one of us gets upset with the other person, we both kind of,
play the silent game.
We both kind of play the silent game, but like we don't do it in like a disrespectful way. Like, you know what I mean? Like we both know that we both just need time to like process like what happened or whatever. And so like,
I usually wait till she breaks first. But it doesn't go too well because I'm always the one to break first.
But sometimes I break first.
Last night she broke first.
Yeah, I did. But you know, then he came into the room that I was in, and just like I was sobbing because I was just having a lot of anxiety about this like one situation, and like the first thing he did was like calm me down. And instead of bringing up the situation immediately, instead of saying, well, I didn't mean it that way, or this, that, or the other, and like talking about himself first, like his #1 priority was getting me to calm down and just telling me, you know, to take a deep breath and just like giving me a hug and just like reminding me that, you know, I have to calm down and like really be able to process like my emotions before I talk about them. And I think that's something that's really important, especially like in a relationship, is not only like the whole listening to understand thing, but like the making sure that you're calming down before you talk about a situation, whether it's because you're fighting or whether it's because of an anxiety or this, that, or the other. Just in general, like you always need to, I think, calm down before you really like express your emotions or feelings towards something.
Yep. Moving on?
Yeah, moving on. Number 2.
Always say sorry. You know, even if it's not really your fault or it's not even close to your fault, just always say you're sorry. But always saying sorry is just the best start because, you know, it gets the other person to calm down and just, you know, give them time to think. And it just, if you don't say sorry and you just keep arguing, it's just going to be heated conversation and it's just going to escalate quickly.
And this goes with like, because I feel like we're talking about like also how to fight, I guess, in a relationship, because every relationship is going to have fights, but like we're saying all of this in a way that can be applied in multiple directions or multiple facets of a relationship. You know, in this case, if you're saying sorry, you know, because you were in a fight or whatever.
Or even if your partner's had a bad day, you know?
Yeah, just like,
say you're sorry.
That sucks. Yeah, and then I think the thing too is that saying you're sorry even if you weren't the person like at fault is important, because like I'm trying to think of an example with us. But like anytime we fight or anytime we do get in an argument about something, even if it is my fault and I say I'm sorry, he will always say he's sorry back, or like vice versa, just because you want to make sure that like it's like you don't put the blame 100% on that person. You're like accepting that this was our problem, we did this together, and we're both sorry about how it affected the other person.
It's not really gonna ever not be your fault. I mean, there's gonna be something that sets your partner off.
Yeah, because
something you do.
You wouldn't be arguing in the first place if you hadn't have said or done something.
Saying sorry, it's not just, you know, you're not just making up crap, you know.
Yeah. So yeah, just say you're sorry and actually mean it. Don't just be like sorry.
Sorry, babe.
Sorry.
Say you're sorry.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Okay, number 3 are affirmations, and I feel like
Down.
and I feel like this is really a big part of like, or like it plays a big part in the anxiety portion of a relationship. So if you're someone that's struggling with anxiety and you're also in a relationship, or your partner is struggling with anxiety and you're also in a relationship, giving them affirmations is really important. And obviously when you think of an affirmation, I'm pretty sure our cats are destroying our kitchen.
Lily, what are you doing? Hey. I was being a bad kitty. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was being a bad kitty.
Like and subscribe. So yes, affirmations, and like a lot of times people think that these are just verbal, and they definitely are 100%. You know, if your partner is having some anxiety or just had a bad day or this, that, or the other, it's important to just remind them that you love them and you appreciate them, and just like really making sure that you highlight things that you love about them. One thing to help with that is every night before we go to bed together, we say one thing that we're thankful for, one thing that we love about each other, and then one thing that we want out of life, whether it's a good day the next day, a promotion, some extra money to pay for a birthday gift, this, that, the other. We ask for that, and then we pray. But with affirmations, it also can be just speaking to your other, like your loved one's love language. You know, for me, like when you bring flowers home, like that's a huge affirmation for me, because I'm thinking, you know, he loves me so much that he went out and thought, you know, I'm gonna bring home some flowers for my babe. Or for you, it's quality time. And like whenever I set aside specific quality time just to spend with him, that really speaks to you, because you value quality time. I love how I'm like, buy me stuff, and you're like, I just want to spend time with you.
Just spending time with you is enough, babe. Another thing with affirmations, could kind of tie in, is communicating your needs. This is probably the biggest part of this list,
especially when it comes to like anxiety.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah, pretty much. Sorry if I said mumble a lot. I don't know. Lily's just like, I'm innocent, Mom.
We don't have just one bad kitty.
We got
two bad kitties.
Okay. Back to the show. Communicating your needs is a key part of the relationship, you know, and helping the other person with anxiety, especially. I know that we both struggle with this, communicating our needs, because 95% of the time when we're mad at each other, we play the silent game, so nothing's said.
Which, I mean, bodes well for us in the end, but sometimes we do need to, like, be upfront about it.
But just, you know, letting the person know what's wrong, or why they're feeling down, or why they're having a bad day, or why they're feeling this way, goes a long way, because then the other person, you know, can take the steps to make the other person feel better, you know, give them affirmation.
Yeah. Okay, so like for instance, for a big thing that we struggled with, what, a couple months ago, I was so busy. I was just like, I had so much on my plate that I was really stressed out. And so like for us, obviously for Brenden, like quality time is like one of his most important like love languages, and like one of the most important things to him in a relationship and everything.
Give me that. Are you serious right now?
Back to our regularly scheduled programming. I was just going through this period where I was really busy, and obviously Brenden really values quality time, and he like wasn't getting any. And instead of just kind of suffering in silence and feeling like he was like, you know, being neglected in the relationship or whatever, he spoke up and was like, babe, can you please schedule in some quality time with me? Which I then made obviously my top priority, because you are my priority. That was so cringy. And that made you feel a lot better, you know what I mean? And for me, it might just, I mean, I just have to be open about like how I'm feeling, because a lot of times I do keep my feelings bottled up, and that's not helpful for anyone. So even if it's not necessarily communicating your needs, it's also about just communicating your feelings and your thoughts and your anxieties, you know? I'll just be like, hey, like, you know, I've just been really like having anxiety about blank, you know what I mean? And then that's his opportunity to talk about it, and they will find anything to play with while I'm filming a video. Anything to make noise while I'm filming a video, that's fine with them. But just finding like, or just talking about it just to give your partner the opportunity to listen to you and do anything that they can to make you feel better about the situation is just really important. Trying to think what else. Anything you want to add? No?
Just don't bottle up. It's never good.
Know what because then it's gonna explode on someone.
It'll lead to a lot of things, a lot of bad things.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, we're gonna stop. We're gonna need to stop doing that if I'm going to concentrate. Okay, so number 5, this last one is more important than number 4. Letting go of the past. Okay. What is wrong with you?
This is a hard one, because like it's really easy to carry like all of your baggage and everything, and like basic, like more so what I mean about letting go of the past, for me at least, is like letting go of your past relationships, the past anxieties that your relationships brought, the past experiences in your relationship,
anything negative revolving around relationships, personal life.
Yeah.
Pretty much anything.
Yeah. And it's a really hard thing to do, but you know, when you find yourself in, you know, an anxious episode, if you will, and you are having bad thoughts about like your significant other at the time cheating on you or something like that, you have to remember that they are not who your past relationship was. You know, this is hard like for me to like talk about like.
Okay, so I had a bit of a rough patch about a year ago.
Yeah.
About a year ago. So when I didn't know what to do with my life, I didn't know what I was doing. I just had a really rough patch, and I went to therapy for, you know, depression and anxiety. And I went there for about 2 months, I'd say. You know, they taught us all these skills and all these lessons, and the number one thing that they told you not to do was think about the past, and, you know, think about how the past might occur in the future again, because even if it's in your mind just the slightest, you're gonna have that, like, you know, distortion. I'm trying not to get too, like, to tell you all about it because I'll get into it. But like, you'll have these cognitive distortions in your mind, you know, like one of the things is like just thinking about your past and like how it will always occur in your future just because it happened one time, you know, or a couple times. You're just thinking it's always going to happen, and your life's always going to be bad just because of that one particular situation. So that's the number one thing they stress about, to just let go of your past, because nothing in that is going to solve anything. And so,
yeah. And I think too, it's like I kind of like back to what I was saying, is like projecting your fears and your anxieties onto your current partner, because that's not fair to them. You know what I mean? Just because I've had, you know, something crappy happen in a past relationship doesn't mean that you're going to do that, and to assume that you would or have anxieties about that really like can taint the relationship and can really just be harmful and unhealthy to the relationship. Now, I'm not saying ignore red flags. If your current partner is showing some red flags and being, you know, secretive or manipulative or anything like that, you definitely need to pay attention to that. And just because a past partner has that and your current partner has that, I've known from experience, doesn't mean that you're, you know, projecting that onto that person, if that's really how it is. But I'm just saying, you know, if you have no reason to believe something about your partner, but you're still having anxieties about it or this, that, or the other, it's not fair to them to project those anxieties onto them, which is why it's so important to go back to number 4 and communicate your needs, talk about what's affecting you, talk about how you're feeling, so that the person that you're with has the opportunity to talk about it with you and help you overcome those feelings. Because like, I know that I didn't get out of my past relationship long before we started dating, but a huge part of what's helped like me overcome my like anxieties and like issues with, you know, past relationships that I've had is being with you and with someone who really understands how to foster a healthy relationship even when you do have anxiety, you know what I mean? And talking about it, communicating your needs, forgetting about the past, stuff like that. Is that it? Mm-hmm. And that's it. So yes, that is the end of this video. We hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a like and also subscribe down below to see more from us. We upload, or I upload at least, a new Caffeinated Convos episode every Wednesday, so be on the lookout for those. And yeah, I hope you guys really get a lot out of this video and learn from some of the tips and tricks that have helped Brenden and I deal with our own anxieties within our relationship. Not because of our relationship, I'm making that distinct, oh my god, I'm making that distinct like difference because they are two completely different things. But if you would like me to do a video about you know, a relationship causing anxiety, I can do that because I do have experience with that. But anyways, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Follow all of our socials down in the description bar below, and we'll see you in the next video. Cheers!